Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I have kind of a fun video for you guys, and it is Battle of the Foundations. So I'm going to share with you guys 5 foundations that are either worth the hype or they're just not, and you should probably just get rid of them. No, I'm just kidding. But I think we all can agree that we've all tried way too many foundations. We've wasted a lot of money, and it just has turned out to be not up to our expectations. So I want to save you guys time and money by sharing 5 foundations that I either liked or didn't like, and I'm going to share the reasons why they either worked for me or they didn't work. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and let's get started. Okay, so the very first foundation that I want to talk to you guys today about is the very hyped about Makeup Forever HD foundation. Now this is one of Sephora's top selling foundations. It's talked about in magazines, on YouTube channels, on blogs, and so I'm going to start out with the reasons that I liked it, and then I'm going to go into some reasons why I didn't like it. So the reason that I do like this is it's a great foundation because it comes in a lot of different shades. So if you're somebody who struggles with finding the right foundation shade, this is a great line that has so many colors to choose from. You're bound to find your perfect shade. Also, the reasoning behind this foundation, why it was created, was actually meant for photography, for film, for 4K, so that you looked flawless in video. So my only thing with this is not all of us need to be looking flawless in video every day. So it's a great foundation for that purpose. If you're a model, if you're a YouTuber, then yes, this is a great foundation to have in your collection. But if you're an everyday woman, you don't need to be looking 4K ready every single day. So let's talk a little bit about what the foundation looks like on skin. So the coverage is about a medium coverage. You could build it up to a full, however, you use so much product. So that's actually one of the reasons I dislike the foundation overall, is just because you end up wasting a lot of product just to get the coverage that you want. But the good thing is it never looks cakey on the skin. It actually has a beautiful kind of satin-like finish. It looks very natural on the skin. It never gets cakey. So for that purpose, I definitely liked this because I never had to worry about, being out in daylight and being like, huh, like what's on my skin? So it is a beautiful foundation for, like I said, the purpose of photography, video. But if you're an everyday woman who wants a decent amount of coverage, doesn't want to waste a lot of products, then I would say to skip this and get something else. So bottom line is I'm not going to be repurchasing this because for the price point and the amount of product that I use, I feel like there are a lot of other better foundations for my everyday life. So yeah, that's the Makeup Forever HD foundation. Okay, so the next foundation I want to talk to you guys about is the Too Faced Born This Way foundation. And if you have been following my blog for a while, or even my Instagram account, which if you're not following me on Instagram, you need to, it's Glam Life Living. Anyway, I have been in love with this foundation for a long time. I actually used it for 8 months straight, which is a record for me. I've never used a foundation that long in my life. But our love affair has ended. But before I tell you why, I wanted to tell you the reasons that I do like this foundation. So a little bit of background about my skin type. I am combination skin, so that means that I have some oily areas, mainly in my T-zone, but my cheeks can get rather dry. So that being said, this foundation has a beautiful coverage. So immediately I think that it builds up to basically a full coverage. It covered everything that I needed it to, and it looked very natural on the skin, which is kind of great because sometimes full coverage foundations can look a little bit cakey. This was never the case for me. So beautiful coverage. Some people complained that the color range wasn't very good, but I do know since the foundation has launched that they've added some new shades. So you should be able to find your color. So anyway, on the skin, it has a very beautiful, slightly dewy satin finish. I think it depends on your skin type. If you are oily skinned, you probably will not like this foundation because it might make you appear to be a little too luminous when you're already struggling with, oily skin. Whereas for me, somebody who is more combination, it was great because it kind of hydrated my skin, never looked cakey, but gave me the coverage that I liked. So why did I stop using it? It sounds so great, right? So unfortunately, I do think that this foundation was the reason that I was breaking out a lot. There's a lot of reasons why I was breaking out, but I do think that this was not helping. I felt like every time I wore it, I would end up breaking out. So if I would take a break from this foundation and try something new, I'd be fine. I'd go back to it, and I feel like I was breaking out again. It could be a coincidence, but this foundation does have an ingredient in it called exethol palmate. I'll list it in the bottom bar because I can't pronounce it very well. but it is actually a number 4 out of 5 of pore clogging ingredients. So even though this is advertised to be oil-free, it still could make you break out because of that ingredient. So if you struggle with acne and breakouts, you may not want to have this foundation just because it could break you out. But that's really the only problem that I had with it. It was a beautiful foundation, so if your skin is tough and you don't break out, then you may want to try checking this out. Okay, so the third foundation is the Estee Lauder Double Wear. So for those of you who don't know, I actually did work for Estee Lauder Cosmetics for about 8 months, so I do know quite a bit about this foundation, and of course, working there, I did have to wear it on a regular basis. So this is one of the most full coverage foundations that I think you can get. But the surprising thing about it is I was really nervous to try it at first because, you know, everybody said it was so full coverage. I'm like, great, it's going to make me look like a grandma's skin. But it actually is very lightweight and smooth considering how full coverage it is. Another positive is it has a wonderful color range. So if you're somebody, again, who struggles with finding your perfect shade, then you're probably going to love this line because you'll be able to find your perfect match super easily. Now, again, great full coverage, so if you struggle with breakouts, oily skin, it's going to be wonderful for you. And it lasts all day on the skin, so it's going to prevent oil from coming through, and it's not going to come off until you force it to come off at night. So again, it's very long wearing, which is wonderful. The reason that I stopped using it was because I feel like the formula almost changes about halfway through the bottle. So when you're using it for the first couple of weeks, I think it looks wonderful, but I don't know what it is, but something kind of happens, and then all of a sudden it starts to kind of break up on your chin area, and it just doesn't look that flattering on the skin. And I've heard a couple different people say this, but again, there's a lot of people who absolutely love this foundation, and I think it does have to do a lot with your skin type. Because I'm more combination dry, it tended to, you know, cling to those areas that I didn't want it to. But if you are oily skinned, acne prone, you will probably love this because it's going to stay all day, you're not going to get oily, and it's going to cover everything that you want to. So the reason I stopped using it was just because it wasn't looking very good on my skin because of dryness and pores and things like that. So anyway, very hyped about foundation. Like I said, if you're oily skin, you'll probably love it. Dry skin girls, I would stay away from it. So the fourth foundation I want to talk to you guys, I don't have anymore because I just exchanged it for the one I'm going to talk about after it. But I will insert a picture so you guys can see what it looks like, and that is the Marc Jacobs ReMarcable foundation. Again, this is a super hyped about foundation, and I wanted it for a long time, but it was the price point that kind of made me hold off a little bit because it is $55. So definitely a very pricey foundation, but it is the most full coverage foundation I've ever used in my life. It comes in a beautiful, luxurious bottle, so for your money, you do get a nice foundation. So let's talk about the pros. Number one, the most full coverage foundation ever. If you have acne, blemishes, discoloration, you're gonna love it. Also great for oily skin girls because it is very matte on the skin and it lasts all day long. So it is a beautiful formula, and a little bit goes such a long way. So for the money, you're not gonna use it very quickly because you don't need very much to cover your whole face. So beautiful foundation, but again, because I am combination dry skin tone, it just tended to cling to things that I just did not want it to. If I had any texture on my skin, it would kind of emphasize that. It emphasized kind of these lines here. So I really wanted to love it, and I did like it at first, but I just think for the price point, it wasn't the best option for my skin tone. A lot of people love it, and I do think it's a beautiful foundation, but it just wasn't great for me for the reasons of clinging to things that I didn't want it to cling to. So again, if you are willing to spend a little bit of money and you have acne, clogged pores, things like that, it might be a wonderful option for you. But I ended up trading it in for this foundation, which is, if I can find it, here it is, the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk Foundation. This is the best foundation I have ever used in my entire life, and I know that's a bold statement, but it's what I'm wearing today, and it is just so beautiful. Again, super expensive. It is $60, so that's definitely the number one con that I have with it, but I ended up exchanging it for the Marc Jacobs, so you know, it kind of evened out price point wise. But anyway, let's talk about what this foundation is. It's an oil-free foundation. It is about a medium coverage. It has a very satin-like natural finish on the skin, but it still gives you such good coverage, which I didn't want to try this foundation for a long time because I thought it was meant for people with dry skin. It was going to be super dewy and luminous and not very much coverage. But when I tried it, I was so surprised because it's actually not that luminous, and it gives you really good coverage. So this has become the perfect foundation for me personally because of my skin. If I could give you guys one tip on finding the perfect foundation, it would be finding something that is good for your skin type. So you need to look for, if you are dry skin, things that are luminous and hydrating. If you are oily skin, you need to find things that are matte and long wearing and sweat proof. Combination is kind of a mixture of the two, where you can kind of lean one way or the other depending on, you know, how dry or how oily your skin is. So the only two cons that I have about this foundation is, number one, it does have parabens in it, which really stinks. I'm somebody that likes to try to keep that out of my household cleaning products, out of my makeup, but it does have parabens, which stinks. But the good thing about parabens is actually they do not cause breakouts. So I'm not breaking out from the foundation, so I'm like, well, if I'm not breaking out, then I guess I can kind of deal with the parabens. But yeah, so the paraben thing stinks, and of course, like I said, a very high-end expensive foundation, but for the price, you guys, it is such a beautiful foundation. So if you want to spend money, you have skin type like mine, then this is like my baby. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. That's just my experience with these 5 foundations. Like I said, the number one thing you have to remember is, what is your skin tone and skin type like? So if you are combination, then you're going to probably like the Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk. If you are super oily and you are having a hard time with your makeup lasting all day, you're going to want to try Estee Lauder Double Wear or Marc Jacobs. I want you guys to know that all of these foundations are beautiful foundations. It's just some of them didn't work for me personally because of my needs in a foundation. So I hope this was helpful for you guys. I know that foundations are tough and it's hard to find the perfect one for you. So I hope you guys learned some tips, and good luck on your foundation hunt, and have a wonderful day.